Good day, Family and Society students. Matt Lees here. Thought I would record a little bit of an introductory video and orientation, get you familiar with the course, with its navigation, cover some basic course policies, most importantly, get you comfortable so you understand exactly kind of what to expect throughout the course of the next 8 weeks. So without any further ado, I thought I would show you actually how to log on to the course. First thing you want to do is start with SIC's incredibly sexy website, sic.edu. Once you're here, you're going to come up to Falcon Portal. Click on that. By the way, if you're new to SIC, perhaps you're visiting from the U of I, you're from a four-year institution, you're here back at home for the summer picking up some cheap credits. So whenever you click on that, underneath first of all, there'll be a login, credentials, a username and a password. If you've never used SIC's platform before, you'll actually have to go to Setup. If you go to the bottom of those, username and password, right underneath those, there's a Setup. Go through that. It'll walk you through how to establish those credentials. So in the interest of time, I didn't want to do that with you since most of you are students from Southeastern back in the fall and spring. But if you are new, that will get you going. So once you get those credentials established, it's going to take you to the SIC applications page. You're going to scroll down. You're going to go to Canvas. Canvas is our learning management system here on campus. Click on that, and then what that's going to do is that's going to bring up your dashboard. This is going to be a list of all of the classes that you're enrolled in this summer. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope your dashboard does not look like my dashboard, because I'm actually teaching 4 classes this semester. I guess this will keep me out of my wife's hair. I suppose this will keep me from wandering the streets. So what you're going to be looking for here is Family and Society, which is right here. Go ahead and click on that. And folks, what this is going to do is take you to the course homepage. A number of professors don't have these in Canvas. I went ahead and designed this myself. I designed it for a couple of different reasons. Number one, the ease of navigation. I have some commonly used buttons that will help you to quickly access the most readily used elements of the course. Also, I wanted to right up front highlight critical information. Number one, folks, your textbook, Marriage and Family Experience. This is your primary textbook. Folks, we're not going to be meeting 3 or 4 days a week face-to-face. I'm not going to be delivering this content to you in person directly. So therefore, about 90%, 95% of the material you're going to need for the module test. Every week we're going to have a module test to make sure you're learning this content. In that module test, that material is going to come directly from the Marriage and Family Experience, your primary textbook. Folks, frankly, you're not going to be able to pass any of those tests without that textbook in hand. Unless you are like a closet sociologist, you're like sitting on a master's degree in Soc, you're not going to be able to pass those quizzes without having that textbook. So the good news is you can walk into the SIC bookstore, say I'm enrolled in Sociology 221. They will hand you this book, our primary book, Marriage and Family Experience, and Hillbilly Elegy by famed social psychologist Jonathan Haidt. Not Jonathan Haidt, J.D. Vance. I briefly swerved over to my other sociology class. J.D. Vance wrote the Hillbilly Elegy. You're going to need both of these books. And both of these can be rented from the SIC bookstore for free. So that's the first thing I wanted to highlight. Make sure you get your hands on those books. It's not going to be possible to pass the class without those books. Once you make sure you have the textbooks, now you're ready to basically start the class. You're going to start here naturally where it says Start Here. This is the Start Here tab. I designed this tab for one main reason, get you orientated to the course. So the first thing you're going to do is watch a little short introductory video of your humble instructor, of me. I recorded that right here in my house. I give you kind of a different angle than this angle. But at any rate, it tells you a little bit about me, about my background, about my interests. Most importantly, establishes the fact that, yes, I am a living, breathing human being. I was not created in a lab by Elon Musk. I am not AI. I am not ChatGPT. I'm a real person. So watch an introductory video. I talk about basically about me, about my interests and my backgrounds. Good news is the second video, you're watching it right now. This is the introduction of the course. So once you've done those two things, now we're going to do a little bit of reading. One is an intro page of the course, kind of contextualizes where we are in our nation's history, what's going on sociologically, what's happening with our society. Guys, we're at an absolute crossroads with our culture, with our society. We're grappling with economic forces in terms of inflation and also social cultural issues that we frankly have not dealt with in the last 30 years. In short, this is a perfect time to be taking a class in family and society, because all of these factors are impacting our families. They're all unfolding before our very eyes and ears. You guys know this. You're living it right now. So that's the introductory page. You can go ahead and read that. Have the syllabus. I'm not going to read the whole entire thing to you because you're a college student, so you don't need me to do that to you. There's a couple things I do want to highlight in the syllabus. First things first is my office hours. Here at Southeastern, we call them student support hours. You'll notice that I don't have office hours listed, guys. In the summer, I'm not going to be at Southeastern. I might be there maybe 1% of the time. I may wander out there on occasion, but folks, 99% of the time I'm going to be here in the Lees family compound. This is my summer headquarters. Mr. Lees, does this mean that we are on our own? We are like the Lone Ranger this semester. If I have a problem, I have to figure it out myself. No, it means none of those things. I am here to help you. I'm here to teach this class. And guys, I'm willing to go out to Southeastern, to drive out, make an appointment with me. And if you prefer to meet face-to-face, we can meet face-to-face. I'm more than happy to do that. Or we can do Zoom. I have this incredible camera. I can share my screen with you. We can kind of walk you through the course, answer and address any questions you have, or we can even do the phone call thing. So we can talk, and I can kind of walk you through some things. So the big takeaway is, even though I'm not going to be physically out on campus most of the time this semester, I can be if you need me. I can basically help you in a variety of ways, also through email as well. So however I can help you, I'm here to help you, folks. So that's a big takeaway from all of that. So do you want to highlight a couple of other elements of this? This is an 8-week mini semester class. This is a summer semester class, so ordinarily this would be over 16 weeks. Guys, good news and bad news with summer. First, the good news. Actually, let's do the bad news first. I always like finishing with the good news. The bad news is summer semester is compressed, so ordinarily this material we'd have 16 weeks to cover it. Guys, it's going to be cut in half. We have 8 weeks to cover this material. So in effect, this is twice the material in half the time. So that's the bad news. The good news is, I don't know what it is, but my summer students in my summer semester class average is the highest I see the entire year. For instance, on the first module, historically, students will score about 63% on that first module. By the way, it's not to scare you. It's just because most students haven't figured me out. Then usually by the second module or so, class average goes up to that normal distribution you expect to see. Summer students, they don't have that problem. So their class average is not 63%, it's typically about 76 or 77%. So you guys have half the time to prepare, but you do almost twice as better as your contemporaries. So that's the good news. So yeah, this is an 8-week class. It's a mini semester, summer class. And then here, in terms of your textbook, this is the actual authors, The Marriage and Family Experience, 13th edition, Strong and Cohen, and then Hillbilly Elegy by J.D. Vance, which is, by the way, a terrific book. A terrific book. And if you come down here, we've got this grading scale. You can look at that a little bit at your leisure. I do want to talk about this book, and there's also a paper you're going to write on the book, Hillbilly Elegy. You might say, oh my gosh, Mr. Lees, I have not actually read a book cover to cover since like the Harry Potter days. The problem is, Mr. Lees, my mom and dad, they gave me this incredibly sexy cell phone when I was in junior high, and all of a sudden it totally reprogrammed my neurocircuitry. It lessened my ability to concentrate to absolutely zero. Then I got, as my kids like to call, the TikTok, and that further reduced my ability to concentrate and sit still. So to sit there, Mr. Lees, and actually read a book, a dead letter book, I can't do it. Folks, I can tell you this, you can do it. It is possible. You have that muscle memory. And I also have some good news for you. If you're more of an auditory learner, you can actually go on YouTube. In YouTube, you can search J.D. Vance Hillbilly Elegy audiobook. You should be able to find that audiobook there. If it's not there, go to Audible. You can get it from Audible. At this point, the book's been out since 2016, so you can get it for probably under $10. And that way you can listen to it. So my recommendation would be have a physical copy of the book. Have that in front of you. Have this assignment description in front of you. Turn this damn thing off, because it's going to be impossible to concentrate if your Facebook, if your Twitter, if your Instagram, and all this stuff is blowing up in your face. You won't be able to focus. Put that aside. Have this assignment description in front of you, and guys, be reading, listening, taking notes, actively writing the paper as you're reading and listening to it. There are a total of 10 questions I want you to engage in the textbook. In your book, in your paper. And don't think of these as like 10 disconnected essays. I want this to be a unitary paper with transitions between these points. Guys, most importantly, this is Vance talking about his own life. He grows up in Appalachia. He grows up in poverty. He has a mother who's drug addicted. He never has really kind of a consistent male influence in his life. There's a revolving set of adults, of men that come in and out of his life. He himself started to go down a very dark path. I don't want to give away too much from the book, but he goes on to extraordinary and extreme success, and he overcomes all the obstacles. And guys, I want you to kind of read this in context of your own experiences, because a lot of what he experienced, in my experience, a number of you may have faced as well. And there's elements of Southern Illinois that are not unlike the rural area where J.D. Vance was raised. So at any rate, guys, make sure you read the book. Engage these questions. This is a short 8-week semester, so this is going to be doing module 6, so it's going to be upon us very quickly. But I'll talk a little bit more about that as we get closer. But the important thing is make sure you read the book. Also, if you're thinking about using your friend ChatGPT to write this paper, so you don't have to read it, you don't have to write it, the program will do it for you. Guys, I have some bad news for you. This course has built in with it Turnitin.com. Turnitin.com has an AI detector. We just got this cool little tool last semester. Folks, I caught 5 students that first semester. And here's what happens when that happens. When you're caught using or engaging in academic dishonesty, you automatically fail the assignment. So this Hillbilly Elegy paper is worth about 250 points, 25% of your grade. You get a 0. You get a 0. And that's what happened to these students. And I had a student who had basically a borderline A, and he went down to a D+ on the basis of plagiarism. So don't do it. And who knows? You may actually get something out of the book if you read it. You may actually get something out of the paper if you write it. Because guys, writing is not writing. Writing is thinking. If you can write, you can think. And that's why I have you do some writing in here. It trains the mind to think. And if you can write, if you can communicate, you will be an absolute weapon by the time you enter the workforce. And people look for people. Employers look for those that have those skills because most people don't have them, especially in this environment. You will stand out. You will shine with those skills. So that is the Hillbilly Elegy paper. That's all I really want to say about that. That gets us out of the syllabus. I do want to talk about a little bit about the course outline, the handbook. No, let's talk about the syllabus. Let's talk about the handbook. Handbook has some tips, some guidelines on how to basically do well in here. Not just my online class, but all online classes. So there's some cool tips in here. Make sure you read that. A couple things I want to highlight. Mr. Lees grades my exam or my module. When will it be? When are the modules going to be graded? So each week modules are due on Wednesdays, by the way, except for that first module. Module 1 is going to be due on Friday at 6 o'clock. All subsequent modules are going to be due Wednesdays at 6. You might say, well, Mr. Lees, I've had 1,000 online classes. Every single professor I ever had used Sunday at midnight. Why the hell are you using Wednesdays? And that first module, Friday at 6. Guys, the reason why I use 6 instead of midnight is I am not a vampire. I am not part of the undead. I'm not a zombie. At midnight, I can tell you precisely where I'm going to be. I'm going to be firmly ensconced in my bed and dead to the world. So therefore, if you're trying to submit an assignment, suddenly Canvas crashes. We have chaos. We have tumult taking place out there online. Folks, I'm not going to know anything about it until the morning. Whereas at 6 o'clock deadline that I use, I will be up. If an issue arises, I can address it. So module 1 is going to be due Friday at 6. Then all the other modules after that are due Wednesdays at 6 o'clock. So I did want to highlight that. If you email me with a question, if you reach out to me, how long will it take me to respond? I am notoriously good. I take this thing with me wherever I go. The course is built in within my app there. Typically 9 to 3, I'm on the course almost constantly. After 3 o'clock, if you email me, I'll probably get back to you the next day at 9 a.m. Sometime around there early that next day. On the weekends, if it's a Saturday or Sunday, I do have a life, so it'll probably be the following Monday. But my wife will tell you this, I'm actually on the course more than that, but that's when you can minimally expect me to be on the course. So that's all I wanted to highlight there in the course handbook. I do have a frequently asked questions section here, FAQs. Look through this. We do have a tutor on campus. We have, in terms of English, to help you with your Hillbilly Elegy paper, we have Joanna Lane. Her email is included there. Reach out to her, guys. She can actually help improve the English usage. Not the content, but the English usage of your paper. And I can tell you that if your paper is well written in terms of English, that will help your grade immensely. By the way, the converse also applies. If I cannot make head or tails of your paper because it's so, the language usage is so poor, that's going to absolutely hurt your grade. So use Joanna Lane. Her email is there. And I think that's all I wanted to say about FAQ. And then in terms of Hillbilly Elegy paper, if you want a direct link to the assignment description, guys, it's right here. So that way you don't have to go into the syllabus, dig for it. You can find it right here. So, so that, folks, once you've done this introductory tab, you're going to be ready to go back to the home page, and you're going to be ready to jump into the first module. I'm going to walk you through that first module. I'm not going to walk you through all of them, but I'll walk you through the first one because they'll kind of serve as a microcosm of the others. First thing you're going to do, you're going to come into Module 1 Summary and Guide. Click on that. Here is a short description of what you need to do. Number one, start at the start here, the Intro tab on the home page we just talked about. Go through those materials. Those are the materials you should read out of that Start Here tab. Then it talks about your textbook. Read Chapter 1, The Marriage and Family Experience. Then you're going to read Chapters 1 and 2 of Hillbilly Elegy. And keep in mind, analytical papers due with Module 6. Then you're going to complete then here's your assignments. The pre-test, scavenger hunt quiz, discussion question 1, and Chapter 1 test. You might say, well, Mr. Lees, it's all fine, well and good. You're telling me I have a discussion question I have to complete, I have to complete a scavenger hunt quiz, but you're not telling me how to prepare for those things. Guys, that information is always going to be located down here under the Module 1 handout. It has a full assignment description and learning objectives. Go ahead and click on that. It's going to go ahead and populate down below. First thing I want to highlight, guys, we're 21 minutes into this video. If you're still with me, I'm going to reward you. In terms of preparing for the Module 1 test, these learning objectives, folks, as you're reading Chapter 1, have these learning objectives in front of you. Be actively finding the answers to these questions because, folks, I will tell you, 90% of that Chapter 1 task is going to be based on these these learning objectives and your key terms. Your key terms are those little slices of life found in bold black in your text. Know those definitions of those key terms, know these learning objectives, and folks, you're going to be ready for 90% of those test questions. Good news about my test is open book and open note. That's the good news. Bad news is they're open book and open note, which means you can spend so much time like tearing through those pages, trying to find those answers, and all of a sudden you look up and your time's expired. These are timed exams, and that time goes by quickly. The key is actually read the material in advance, take notes as you're reading that chapter, and make sure you can find the answers to these questions on the learning objective and know those key terms. That is the biggest hint I can give you in terms of success on those tests, on this module test, both for the Chapter 1 tests and all the module tests going forward. So then you're going to scroll down. Here's those reading assignments, again, a little bit more detail. And then we've got the assignment set. So here's the scavenger hunt quiz. How should you prepare? Guys, that scavenger hunt quiz is basically a test over that Start Here tab. It basically makes sure that you've read the syllabus, that you've read the course handbook, that you've read the frequently asked questions page, that you've listened to this orientation, that you listened to my little intro, that you watched those 2 videos. So if you've done all those things, you're going to be able to answer these questions. But there's some examples here, like what's the penalty for plagiarism? What's my expectation about discussion questions? What day are modules due and what time? So that scavenger hunt quiz basically makes sure that you know the course, know how to navigate it, and are familiar with those policies. We get the pre-test, nothing to worry about here. It's just going to ask you some basic questions about sociology, material, and content. We're going to be engaging the rest of the semester. Folks, if you know none of these questions, here's the great news. This test is worth 0 points. 0 points. So if you absolutely bomb it, let not your hearts be troubled. It's not going to be held against you. What it does is it establishes a pretest, your knowledge entering the course. So it establishes that baseline. Then at the end of the semester, this pretest is going to naturally become a post-test. I'll give it to the class again. I'm going to track, hopefully, your learning throughout the course of the semester. Hopefully it looks like that and not like this. So basically, folks, it's a test of my effectiveness, not yours. So if you don't do well on that, don't sweat it. But you still have to complete it. If you don't complete it, there will be a penalty associated with that. A test that is worth points is the Chapter 1 test, worth 50 points. Got some tips here. I just gave you some major tips, how to prepare for that. Learning objectives, key terms are huge for that. And folks, that's basically, we do have discussion question 1, which is you're going to go on the bulletin board, and which you can find that over here in discussions. You can also find it on the home page under discussions as well. Guys, you're going to give an intro of yourself. What's your major? Do you work? Do you have any kids? What's your ultimate goal? What career do you want to find yourself in? And then you're going to give us in that intro some of your interests, and you're going to bury in there a couple fun things. You're going to give me 2 truths about yourself, some interesting facts about yourself, and you're also going to give me 1 lie about yourself. Then I'm going to try to guess it. Your classmates are going to try to guess it. Think of some of those outlandish things you've experienced, and maybe something crazy you just made up. Kind of a fun way to introduce ourselves. I'll be participating in this as well. And by the way, if you want to find out information about me, watch an introductory video about me. Also go back to the home page, go to the My Professor, Your Professor button. Guys, this is all about me, some of my background, my history, my interests. I do a little political analysis on WSIL TV. This is my lovely and gracious wife, Angela, and these are my 3 kids. There'll be some tips, some hints to some answers to my 2 truths and a lie. So, guys, in a nutshell, that's the first module. In a nutshell, that's the course itself. I know I covered a lot here. My goal was to keep this under 30 minutes. I see now I'm at 27 minutes, so I need to wrap this thing up. Biggest takeaway. Guys, I gave you a lot of things this semester, career-wise. I gave you 1,000 different things. I love teaching. I love engaging students. I love helping you learn. So know that I'm here to help you throughout the course of the semester. Any questions you have, reach out to me. Looking forward to getting to know you throughout the course of the next 8 weeks. We're going to have a lot of fun. And ladies and gentlemen, without any other further ado, I'm going to let you go. And I will see you folks next time.